All right, this is K-Rock, the Truth Hammer, reporting live from our 40-acre survival compound in a remote location in northern Colorado. All right, so we are working on the Fort Collins local currency, and we went around shopping for paper. And I've never done that before. The questions you kind of want to ask when you're calling around is, one, this all comes down to money-ness. You want to have something that feels like money, and they get tripped out because you think they're counterfeiting. So the way you get past that is a couple things. It looks nothing like a Federal Reserve note, and number two is the size of it is a little bit larger. In fact, it's nostalgic to the paper money days, going back to Lincoln. Lincoln created debt-free paper currency. They're called greenbacks. And he did that because he was forced into it, because Rothschild was financing the North and the South. And you have to kind of look, the colonies, the original American colonies had no gold and silver. So there were two fatal flaws that were being warred upon right at that time with the Constitution. The first one was chattel slavery. And ultimately, we all became slaves because of the 14th Amendment U.S. Citizen Clause makes us, a piece of paper, basically. We become corporations without inalienable rights, a virtue of the U.S. 14th Amendment, U.S. citizen, subject to person. It's a corporate fiction. So anyway, the fatal flaw beyond slavery, because the original slavery clause had 3/5 representation for the slaves. The next part of that was the gold and silver being required for money. Well, gold and silver, the colonies did not have. The former colonies, the eastern seaboard, there's no gold up until you get all the way to Colorado. Well, Colorado wasn't established until 1876. And they, were just getting the railroad thing done. That was after. They didn't connect the coast until the 1870s. That's after the Civil War. Well, the point is, if you base your monetary system on gold and silver, and there is none until you get to the Rockies, well, you're a slave to those who have them. And then Rothschild got to the land first, wherever the production was. They would buy the claims from the small miners and then basically make that as a cartel. So even though the U.S. had gold, it needed to get it from Rothschilds. So that's how they control things, in the exact same way that the oil cartel controlled things. Well, the bankers were strangling Lincoln on all sides. The North and the South were being financed, and he had to run his own army off of gold, which during times of war, these bankers strangle you. They'll loan you enough money to get you into the war, and then while you're in the middle of it, they'll strangle you and cut off the gold supply. So it costs more labor in order to buy the same amount of gold. So this is how they destroy you with commodities: gold and silver, oil. And I don't have to explain, but everything you do now as a tool of manipulation with oil, they do the same thing with gold to destroy. It's a matter of sovereignty. You lose your sovereignty. Then there's a control issue, and then there's the usury issue, which makes it impossible to pay back. So gold destroys the sovereignty of nations. And that's why it was built into the Constitution. Rothschild wanted to get paid back from the American Revolution in gold, which they loaned to the colonists after they destroyed the Continental, the paper Continental. So that's how they counterfeit. The bankers, the private usurers counterfeit the public money in order to make it seem as if the governments are incapable. Well, just think of how crazy that is. Just think in your village, your town, your community, your block, and you decided to make your own currency based on time. And it was you and, let's say it's, 3% of your neighbors. So there's, 1,000 of you, and, it's just you and your 30 neighbors, right? 10% would be 300, Well, among you, if you end up overproducing that, number one, that 1,000 people would be able to come down on top of you and give you a hard time. They're right there. So that's the whole thing with the paper currency. You do it, and if it's local, those people, they know that you're the real government. Now, with our education, we're teaching people whoever controls the monetary supply becomes the new government. Well, they can't set up a cartel because it's based upon your human energy through ours, and there's no commodity that they can restrict. In addition to that, there's no usury. So you've solved the two big control problems of gold money. Is the usury aspect. You have to borrow it from the bad guys, and then the bad guys won't give you enough of it in order to make you default and confiscate your wealth. It's a elaborate wealth and asset confiscation racket. So that was a long segue. Getting back to awesome paper money. The greenback was bigger, and there's some beautiful notes. Just prior to the Federal Reserve coming around, the money used to be bigger. So is mine. mountainhours.com. So
what happened?
Nothing.
Oh.
I'm just recording. I guess it's a talk over. So that's the 1 hour note. Very nice. And so anyway, in shopping for the money, you want to maximize the sheet size so you can get as many notes on one sheet of paper as possible. I just have regular prints and I cut them out. So it's kind of neat to hold them in your hand for the very first time where you actually count them. And this is obviously a passion of mine because it's the silver bullet to save the world. We can do the exact same thing. Just imagine just changing the size and color of the pieces of paper in your hand. Nothing else will change. It's other than you'll have 7-year mortgages instead of 30. You won't have income taxes and property taxes, universal debt jubilee. Good stuff. You won't throw 23 years of your life away. Things you want to make it feel like Money-ness. Money has a unique feel to it. These are just copies. It entirely feels different. Compare to yourself. This feels. You want to make it feel valuable, obviously. So you have the texture, so you ask them for something that feels similar to this, and then you also want it to be durable, that it will make it through laundry. So if you accidentally leave it in, you don't lose your wealth, right? So this, you can tear it. This, you can puncture. And this style of paper, which is Write in Rain, is waterproof, but it very easily punctures, just like a dollar bill will. But it feels very much like money. All right, this is what we've been working on. This is called Therminant, and it's a real durable kind of, I don't know, maybe it's got some kind of plastic fiber in it. There's nowhere in Colorado where they make paper, so I tried to find paper. Ideally, I wanted it made out of hemp or bamboo or some renewable resource that was made ideally right in Fort Collins or Breckenridge. Additionally, that it was a local company. We went into one place which was a national chain because we're having trouble finding paper, and we didn't want to go there. We ended up going with a local company. And they're going to want minimum orders of 500 sheets or 1,000, and that's the number of sheets. And obviously you could put a bunch of bills on each one. So those are your costs, and they are costs. I'll get back to you with totals on that. But I'm trying to puncture this, and it does go through, but you really got to work on it. And then tears from the edge where it's uncut I haven't been able to do it yet. But if you puncture it and then you rip it, that is very doable. So compare that to this, which is nothing. But I'm telling you, I cannot get this to rip. This stuff is tough. Again, if it's ripped already, then it peels. Just like different types of plastic have that kind of consistency to it. So that is it. K-Rock, the Truth Hammer, signing out. Choice. Okay.
I kind of like it. Can you bite it?
Sure, try to bite it.
Ooh, those are my power. That's my power move. I don't want to do it too much because I'll hurt my teeth. I don't have lipstick on.
Oh, got it. Tiger.
That is peel. Really peels cool. Whoa.
All right, so see if you can rip it again. Just show the camera.
No.
As hard as you can, try to rip it.
I mean, it's not gonna do it.